Brandy Yvette here, and welcome back to Just Swallow the Pill. I absolutely cannot believe we are on episode number 8. Oh my goodness. I want to first off just again thank you guys so much for being so supportive and for reaching out to me. I appreciate you guys for absolutely trusting me with your stories and your journeys, and I'm so excited that I could help you guys embark on this journey that I once or am still currently on. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for the DMs and the emails. Now, also I want to just go ahead and let you guys know, starting in April, I will be answering your how-tos and what did you do's. You guys are emailing me and DMing me questions, and I really think that a lot of people could benefit from the questions and the answers. A lot of us are going through things, and what I have found is a lot of us are suffering in silence. And so I would love to get your questions so I can answer them for everyone who'd like to hear, and everyone who, or anyone who may be going through the same thing that you may be going through, but maybe don't know how to express it yet. So again, that's coming in April. So email me your questions at thedifficultpill@gmail.com. I will compile them, and then every week I will be answering a question with a what did you do or how to. So before we jump into this week's episode, I want to do just a brief recap of last week's episode. I told you guys about how I got specific instruction from my God moment that I was to move on. And I started to move in that direction. I started to take steps to move on. So me and my ex-husband went to the courthouse. We signed divorce papers. And on the way out, he said that he would not file until I got a job. Now, the purpose behind that was because I had no medical benefits on my own. I was under his medical benefits, and with the military, once you divorce, those benefits are done, over, finito. So with that said, I needed to get my own medical benefits. So he was supposed to be waiting until I got a job so that could take place. But, you know, that didn't happen. He wound up filing anyway. But unbeknown to him, I actually found a job and an apartment about a week later. And so at this point, I prayed for a peaceful departure. Emotions were still running really, really high. And I knew that I did not want to leave with him there. I wanted to kind of leave on my own terms. And so that is exactly what happened. Now, a couple episodes ago, I told you guys that I had started to rebuild my relationship with God. And at this point, I completely leaned on him and trusted him with my life. And so I prayed just for a very peaceful departure. And really, that's what happened. Everything that happened was really out of my control. Okay, so while I was waiting for things to kind of happen, I do want to let you guys know that I was still angry. I was still shocked. Just because I was moving along, going with the flow, doesn't mean that Brandy Yvette was not highly pissed that I was having to go through this. I still had to see him every day. I was still extremely hurt. I was still extremely devastated. And I still did not understand why this was happening to me. Why me? And that's a question that I asked myself a lot. That's a question that I asked God a lot. And I just, for the life of me, just could not understand why this had to be my life. And in going through that, of course, that anger, I wanted to take that out on my ex-husband because in my eyes, this was all his fault. This is all your fault. I'm going through all of this. It's all your fault I have to move. It's all your fault I had to find a new job. It's all your fault I have to start my life over. And so the thoughts of retaliating against him crossed my mind a lot. I wanted to cut every t-shirt that he had under the arms. You know, I wanted to cut all the tongues out of the right shoe of every single pair of Jordans he owns, and he owns a lot. I wanted to do many things to get back at him because I was so angry. But because my relationship with God was getting stronger and stronger by the day, I was not allowed to do so at all. My spirit would not allow me to retaliate against my ex-husband as much as I wanted to. I just couldn't. But what I did do was start to focus on myself. What I did do was start to put myself first. What I did do was just really stop thinking about him and his feelings. Because at the end of the day, he wasn't thinking about me and my feelings. So why should I think about you and yours? And so then came the exit strategy. So my apartment complex called me and they said I could move in on between May 4th and May 6th. That was a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then my new job called and said that they wanted me to start May 9th. And I was like, oh wow, that's perfect. That's crazy how perfect that lines up. And I still didn't know how I was gonna move without my ex-husband being home. That was my thing. I did not want him to be home at all. So I was thinking, I was gonna have to move while he was at work. And I didn't know how it was gonna happen. I just did not want him to be there when I was packing up to get out of there. And just so happened, my ex-husband came home one day and said, hey, I'm going on a TDY. And I leave on April 30th. And I will not be back until May 10th. And I was like, oh my God. Like, did these dates all just line up? So I literally had a whole week to move without him being there. And that was another thing, again, that just kind of catapulted my relationship with God full speed ahead, because I prayed for a peaceful departure and it was happening right before my eyes. And I literally had no control over how these dates came about. And so then came moving day. My ex-husband had left. And so I wound up going to U-Haul, got my boxes, got my life together. And so one of the things that I wanted to do was to clean house. I wanted to just clean everything. And my spirit didn't feel right about it. And God told me to not take anything that was not mine from that house. So that meant that anything that I agreed that was going to stay in that apartment was going to stay. And anything and everything that my ex-husband and I said I could take, I took. And so I wound up moving on a Wednesday. I hired a moving company. And that was another thing too. My ex-husband refused to help me financially. But unbeknown to him, I had a very large sum of money stashed away that I had access to. And so I liquidated some assets and I had to fund my own move without his help at all. And, I was angry at him for that. You don't want to be with me anymore. You want me to get out. You're treating me like shit, but you don't want to help me. Okay? So, I moved on a Wednesday, got all my things into my new apartment, drove back down to Tucson to relax. I needed to kind of get some things together, but I wound up cleaning the apartment. I wanted him to come home to a clean apartment. I left him dishes. I left his television in the living room, and I left him a towel and a washcloth. And I also left him his $5,000 mattress that I also wanted to take, but my spirit wouldn't let me do it. I also paid up the electricity for 2 weeks. I also paid up the internet for a little bit so he could take his time to get those things taken care of and put in his name. And Friday came, and just so happened my mom and my sister was coming into town to kind of help me get settled. It was also Mother's Day weekend. And I left Tucson and I did not turn back. It was a very emotional day for me. Also, again, not everybody knew what was happening in my life. Only select individuals knew what was happening. And so I left the home that I created, unbeknown to my ex-husband. He had no idea that I was moving out. He had no clue that I was gone. And another difficult thing was leaving our dog. We had gotten a puppy about a month before he asked me for a divorce. And so that was my baby. And I didn't know exactly what day my ex-husband was coming home. So it broke my heart to have to leave the dog caged up for, a day or two. But it was just something that I had to do again. It was time for me to start worrying about Brandy. It was time for me to start worrying about the life that was waiting for me. And most importantly, it was time for me to start my healing. And so I wound up going up to Phoenix, picked my mom up from the airport, picked my sister up from the airport, and then my new life was starting. And so we are gonna stop right there. We are gonna pick up next week, and I'm gonna tell you guys about a few events that happened right after I moved that I thought were very interesting. I started to reflect a lot at that time. So there were some missing puzzle pieces that I found that I was able to put in place. So I'm gonna tell you guys about that next week. Again, don't forget to like, comment, and share. You guys have to share me. I know you guys want to keep me all to yourselves, but share, just swallow the pill. Let everybody know that your girl has some life hacks to healing when it comes to breakups. Again, email me your questions at thedifficultpill@gmail.com if you want me to answer your how-tos and what did you do's. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not already done so. And again, as I always say, your crown is not on your head, it is in your soul. Thank you so much for watching. and we will see you guys next week.
You and me were meant to be as one. Do you